All right, my name is John Reynolds. This is the August 21st Sewer Commission agenda. And I had opened the meeting prior to recording, so I'm going to just skip down to the required reading about the open meeting law. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided by members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public webinar found on the posted agenda or a telephone. Dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar ID number 898-677-02504. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. So we'll do a quick roll call here. Mike Mackin.
Here.
Brett Ramston.
Here.
I for myself, and for staff, Bill Bernard.
Here.
Jane Rainley.
Hi, Jane.
Here.
Thank you, Jane.
I have
And
to
as a
mute
guest-
myself. Dogs barking.
As a guest tonight, we have the interim town manager, Carter Terenzini. Did I get that right, Carter?
Yes, sir. Thank you much.
Okay, great. We have one item on the agenda tonight, which has to do with the hiring of a new business manager. And, I apologize because I may have called this meeting prematurely to talk about the business manager. We'll find that out in just a minute. So I don't know, Bill or Carter, if one of you, perhaps Bill, want to give an update as to where we are with that, what the status is. And
Sure.
I would prefer not to use any candidate's name if that's possible.
Sure. Well, I think we were all disappointed and to find out that we were going to lose Paula, and certainly on the shorter time frame that we're losing her was most challenging. We had a candidate from another selection process that appeared suitable, but we did advertise the position immediately the following day as well. We did not get any applications during that process to date. The only application that we had was from the previous process that Julie thought might be a reasonable fit. She was interviewed by Bill and Julie and recommended to me on the basis of that interview. Now, I will say under the former town manager, user agencies were not involved. But going forward, for my time with you, user agencies will be involved. You were not involved in this particular interview, and that was based on precedent. But should this appointment, should you not ratify it, and should it not work out, user agencies, one of you will be involved in observing that process, so you can give me input. The person being brought in, I know, John, you were concerned that, about the scope of pay is not being brought in at any higher step than your current business manager. And we will not, I know that Paula has expressed some concerns that we not modify your current licensing arrangement. So let me say that we will not be changing the status quo in any fashion in the near term, other than, unfortunately, losing Paula. I mean, if I could wave a magic wand, I would do so. And I think you probably all want to be the first person to grab it after I did. But she is leaving us. That's a reality. Now, the good news in all this is we think we have a good qualified candidate. Finding someone with the specific kind of munis knowledge, sewer knowledge, all those things is going to be relatively, well, the odds of it happening it's just not there in this job market. Secondly, this candidate may be able to onboard as early as Monday morning, which would give us, not a great lapse in time. I know that Paula's last day, I believe, is Saturday. We'd hope to get someone in there faster, but that's just not the process. However, Paula, to her credit, has agreed to come back on her schedule, of course. And Bill, I believe, has talked with her about a rate of pay, and I thought that rate of pay was quite agreeable. I think it was $50 an hour. Bill, was that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So Paula has agreed to come back and do training with this new hire. So up against the wall with what I think a set of circumstances none of us would want, I have submitted this candidate to you for your ratification.
Okay, a couple of things. One, Mike, that answers your question that you
Yes.
had.
We're not
Okay.
interviewing anybody.
Right. Now,
You're
Carter,
not,
so-
but let me say that for my time with you, you would be involved in some fashion. So for instance, today, we had final interviews for land use director. I invited the planning board chair, the conservation commission chair, and the ZBA chair to observe. I had them give me questions. I did ask the questions, so to make sure they were posed in a manner that was legal, if you will, given today's statutes, and also to be woven into other questions that perhaps had already been asked or maybe still were in my mind. We wanted to weave them together. After that candidate left, I then discussed with the chair, their concerns, their thoughts. I do definitely want to have those. Now, at the end of the day, it's my name that goes on the memo in terms of submitting nominations. But you certainly would be, with my time with you, included in that process going forward.
Appreciate that.
yes, that's great.
I think that's the most appropriate way to proceed.
I agree. So just to clarify, Carter, the candidate has been offered the position and she has accepted.
So the way we do it was we always say, we make it real clear, this is an offer conditioned upon reference checks, background checks, and ratification. In some cases, it's the Board of Assessors, it's the Board of Sewer Commissioners, the Select Board. But yes, we always make that very clear. And if this board chooses not to go forward, then by all means, we'll keep advertising it. And Bill talked with us about temporary, stopgap measures. I'm not quite sure what kind of person we would found, from whatever the local, I can't even remember the name of the agency over there in Leominster, Fitchburg, but we would try to find some sort of stopgap. But I will tell you that the job market today, it's not just Lunenburg. You're feeling the pressure of it because perhaps you have a few more you haven't been able to fill. And that's on the back of the Munis thing. And that's on the back of the 2 years of hoopla over the tax situation that certainly had some problems. But I was talking with my counterpart out in Spencer. They have been through 5 planners in the last 10 years.
Wow. I'm curious. I know this is kind of off the subject, but just, as since the topic's been raised, Are people just moving around for, better deals?
In some cases, if you were actually running a sewer plant itself, yes, people are jumping like crazy because there's not as many licensed operators as are needed. Out in Templeton, when the sewer superintendent's position was advertised, there were 3 applicants. Only one was truly qualified, and he jumped after 2.5 years for a state gig and a dramatically higher pay than we could give him.
Sure.
And they weren't able to recruit a new sewer superintendent until they went to the foreman and said, look, last time we asked you to take it, we know you said no because the town had been kind of in political turmoil, but it's been calmed down. We've had a good 4-year run here without the kind of turmoil we used to have. Will you take it? And the foreman did, so they were able to find someone in-house. But yes, there's a lot of jumping around, particularly in the younger group. I look at my stepdaughter, she's 43, and I don't think she's held a job more than 3 years anywhere. And when I asked what was going on, she was sort of like, well, Carter, you're an old fogey. Nobody goes to work for company one and stays there for 20 years. That's just not the world anymore.
No, I mean, and if I may, conservation in our town, you're probably aware, they went through 4 or 5 liaisons managing their commission, at least 4, in a matter of, I believe it was 2 years or less. And they've got someone who's staying at the moment, and she's great, and I applauded her for give her kudos in person that she's been sticking with it and so forth. But you're right, it's incredibly hard out there right now, especially with the younger people.
This is the worst recruiting market. I've been in this business now for a couple more years than I'd like to admit, probably. But this is the worst recruiting market I've seen since I've been in business. And you're challenged in Lunenburg because it's not easy to get there. If you're trying to commute from, let's say, along 495 or even Route 2, you got to work a little bit to get up into Town Hall and over to the DPW garage. When I was doing a stint as interim in Boxborough, I got off 495 and I was at Town Hall in a mile and a half. And I drove past the public works yard to get there. It's a very challenging job market.
It is.
Well, Carter, you and I talked a bit about this day before yesterday. Given that it is a challenging job market, I hope the town of Lunenburg is looking at what they need to do to retain their existing workforce. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but certainly it's unfortunate that Paul is leaving, and I believe last May there had been an opportunity to change things with the pay scale, and perhaps she wouldn't be leaving. I mean, just the fact that the new person is being paid at the same grade and step that Paula is, and Paula truly had the qualifications for the position. It's just very unfortunate, and I hope this doesn't happen with any other town employees. And Carter, you're new. I'm not putting any responsibility on you for that. You know that from our conversation, but it's just a very unfortunate situation.
I think the town has to take a look, as one, for instance, if you come to work for the town of Lunenburg, you get so many sick days a month, but you can't use them for the first 6 months. Right. Vacation accruals. I mean, I could go down the line with you. Now, I think that the select board recognizes this. Truthfully, I think my tenure with you is too short a time to try to start that whole review, especially when, believe it or not, budget season's almost upon us. Capital planning is about to start. And frankly, you've got some issues in your FY25 budget. We also have a considerable amount of ARPA money to get under contract, if not fully expended. So I think people are recognizing it and know it needs to be addressed. Mr. Alonso last evening asked for a state of the organization report by which we'll look at the churn rate over the last couple of years. We'll look at the exit interviews. We'll make comments on things like this. But you do have to remember also that the vast majority of the positions within Lunenburg are unionized. Even your clerks
Yep.
are unionized.
Yep. Okay, you
So-
just brought up one other thing.
I'm sorry.
If I remember correctly, at a select board meeting, you said you were going to be conducting the exit interviews. Did I hear that correctly?
It had been my intent to sit in on the exit interview. That's correct.
Okay. Then I truly hope that is the case with Paula, that you are present for the exit interview.
That is my intent. I saw some emails today in which the date and time was being switched. I really didn't get a chance to look at that. I know that I think it was going to be today. So I will do my very best to make sure I'm present.
Okay.
Mr. Skinner?
Mike, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, so I think that, obviously the one item on the agenda needs to be addressed, and
Yes.
before we do that, just for my peace of mind, I'd like to hear more from Bill and Carter about their impressions from the interview.
Yes.
Bill, can you take this one? I'm much better on broad policy issues.
Sure. Yeah, so the interview process, we have a set of questions that it was the same set that we used when we hired Paula. And it was myself and Julie and the candidate. The candidate, she was very poised. I thought she gave great answers. She demonstrated that she has experience that I feel will work well in this position. Obviously, she doesn't know sewer. She's going to have to learn our regulations. She's going to have to learn our internal processes, and she's going to have to learn munis. So there's a lot to learn, but I think she's proven in her history, from what I could see, that she can step into a role like this and learn what needs to be done, and then hopefully take it up a notch, to make it better or easier. I think she demonstrated all that in the interview. So I'm confident she'll do well.
Just
Let
one
me-
question. It doesn't appear from the resume that there's any municipal or public experience. Is that correct? Okay.
That is correct, right? Right, it was
Let
all
me-
private sector.
Let me say that she'll have a probationary period she has to go through. I was surprised the other day, we had someone coming up on the expiration of the probationary time. There were a couple of issues, and I said to Julie, well, we'll take it up during the probationary review. And Julie's, oh, we don't do reviews. I said, well, you will be once I get here, as long as I'm here. So what my experience has been that, probationary periods are the one time where you could say to somebody, I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me. If I mean, it's just, if the fit isn't right, if something just isn't working right, my view is that people need to earn a permanent appointment, not looking at it in reverse. It's not like, well, they weren't all that bad and we should just make them permanent. So what I've told Julie is I want a 1, 3, and 5 month sit down. So Bill will have a, sort of a rating sheet. And I think, Bill, you already do evaluations, don't you?
I do for the union employees,
Yeah.
yes.
So, we'll do kind of a similar thing where we sit with the employee at the first month. How's it going? 3 months and then 5 months. So if it's just not working out, we've got a 1 month window. We know what's going on. And we would ask the sewer commissioners, based upon their interactions, to contribute comments to Bill for his consideration and inclusion. For the period of time I'm with you, I do dismiss employees. I'm told in Templeton that we separated from our service more people in the 4 years I was there than in the 14 before that. I mean, it's never pleasant, but I want to assure you that if this candidate does not work out, we will take action. They won't just be left there because we need a warm body. That's why I'm most hopeful that we can, in the not too distant future, fill the assistant business manager. I mean, one of the problems in these smaller organizations, for those who are sports fans, I guess, is we don't have a very deep bench. When someone leaves the Conservation Commission, they were the Conservation Commission.
Mhm.
So I'd like to assure you that at least in my time with you, we will separate from service someone who's not doing the job. And we will continue to work hard to try to fill the assistant position.
And I would assume that we'll do our best to provide whatever support is needed to help this candidate succeed.
Here, here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Paula will come back as she's available. Bill can speak to that. I don't remember the exact schedule. We've let the candidate know they might have to work some split shifts or some adjusted shifts. One of the challenges is Munis. If it was Vadar, I could send them over to where Clinton is it, I think, maybe. And buy a day. It might cost $2,000, but I could buy training on-site training, whether I sent them over to Clinton or the town where the Weetabix was made for a while. Or I bring someone from Vadar in. Munis is tough, but we absolutely want to provide the kinds of support. Look, 80% or more of our budget is people. And the most expensive part of those people is, turnover. We need our employees to be successful. And, I work with the young lady in our office who's still learning almost daily. Here's a hint. How's it going? As she's leaving tonight, I said, you might want to take a few minutes and tonight write your today list tomorrow so that it's there on the desk. You got a little bit. And y'all know Bill. And I know he's committed to trying to make anyone that works with him and for him successful. That's because guess what? If the employees working for us aren't successful, Bill doesn't look great. And if Bill don't look great, I don't look great. It's sort of the reverse of shit rolls downhill. It's more like success bubbles up.
But, again, we're really in the service business. And so if the service don't work, people are affected.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
The one thing that this candidate will be missing, hopefully for not too long, is a sewer commission.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
And John,
That's a separate discussion that's been rattling.
that's
down
a
my
separate
mind.
discussion we need to have. But John, I
Yes.
spoke to you about my plan the other day. I'm leaving it in your good hands for another week or two. And if that doesn't yield us, at least a candidate, then I do have an alternate plan that might bear some fruit. We'll see.
Well, I think if it's the plan we talked about, I think you should just go ahead with that because
I don't think we should wait. I don't think we should wait at all. I agree.
one person that I spoke to has said no. So I would say go ahead with your mailing campaign if that's the one you're talking about.
It is, and I will run that by the remaining commissioners and Bill for review and comment. And that may be the task. Should you ratify tonight and we get them onboarded, and you know, and Bill's had an experience where we offered somebody and then they went MIA fairly quickly. But this may be task one on their list.
Okay, Carter, I mean, I do have one more meeting. I'll add the mailing to the agenda for next Tuesday's meeting.
That'll be great. And I'll have it to you by Monday.
Okay. So I think we're probably at the point where we need a motion to ratify the appointment now. Mike and Carter, you're more experienced with this than I am. When we do this ratification, do we need to, I assume we need to specifically mention her name?
It does.
I would think.
Yeah, okay, so, Mike, since you were the one who wanted to be more involved with the interview process, if you want to go ahead and make a motion to ratify, and you have the woman's name, right?
I do.
Okay, so if you want to make a motion for the Sewer Commission to ratify the appointment of, Lori Ann McCormick to the position of Sewer Business Manager, go for it.
I do make a motion to ratify the appointment of Lori Ann McCormick as the position of sewer manager.
And I would like to second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's take a roll call vote. Mike,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and I for myself. It's unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen. And John, as you did the other day, I want your fellow commissioners to know, just stop by the office, and unless I'm buried in something else, hopefully no backups from a sewer pumping station. I'll be happy to sit with you as quickly as I can for as long as I can. And John,
Great.
hopefully you found that productive the other day.
Yes, I did.
Parker,
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to talk to Carter directly, if that's all right. Carter, you know, I hadn't had a chance to meet you. It's great meeting you. I want to say that having spent some minutes on this meeting with you, seeing how you do things and hearing your insights, I want to thank you for being on board and happy to have you as our interim town manager, and hopefully that becomes a permanent thing. So I just wanted to say thank you for your efforts and glad to have you here.
Well, that's
Yeah,
very
nice to meet
kind, and I hope you think as highly of me as I'm going out the door as when I came in. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You as well, sir.
We need to officially, Carter, you can leave. That's fine. But we
Thank you.
need to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of adjournment, say
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No opposed. The meeting is ended. Thank you all. See you
Thank
next
you.
Tuesday.
You Tuesday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Good night, everybody. Take care.